you found that music and being a musician and learning how to play music has helped you in your journey of learning jiu-jitsu? Is there similar models that you have that have been applicable?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like learning how to learn is one of the best skills you could develop if you want to like get good at anything. It's something I kind of think about quite often, actually, because I feel like with jiu-jitsu and with banjo, like I've gotten decent at both of those things. I don't think I'm the most naturally technical musician. I'm definitely not like a super like naturally strong or super athletic person, but I think like what I have gotten kind of good at is just sort of learning how to learn and how to take things and break them down, like you said, into kind of the most fundamental building blocks, and understanding those building blocks. You're just structuring these really simple, or sort of stringing these little simple building blocks together to make something more complex. And that's everything. Like everything can be broken down into the kind of the tiniest building blocks of whatever the thing is that you're trying to do.
Welcome back to the BJJ Fanatics podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ford. My guest today is a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a founding member and the banjo player for the very successful modern roots band, the Dead South. The band has won several awards, and they have a global following, touring all around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be joined today by Colton Crawford. How are you today, Colton?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm great. Colton, I'm so happy we were finally able to get this interview together, man. You and I've been talking through Instagram for a couple of years now, I think. And I'm so happy our schedules finally lined up here and we were able to get you on, because when I found out, anytime I hear someone outside of our jiu-jitsu bubble who's done big things in other areas like music or film or things like that, it's always cool to pick your brain and see how jiu-jitsu's impacted your life. And I'm someone that loves music, so this is a special one for me. So thanks for being here today.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me.
The question I always like to start with, man, tell us about where you're from originally and what life was like before you found jiu-jitsu.
Sure. I was born in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada. Moved to Saskatchewan when I was young. I live in Regina, Saskatchewan right now. I got put into Taekwondo when I was 10 years old or so. And it's kind of in that phase of life where parents are putting in a bunch of stuff to see what sticks. And Taekwondo really, really stuck. I loved it. I became kind of obsessed with it as like a kid and a teenager. And I did that up until I grew up in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. That's where I started doing Taekwondo. And then I moved to Regina for university. And I had a couple of guys that I trained Taekwondo with that also did jiu-jitsu. And they're like, oh, you should come and give this jiu-jitsu stuff a shot. And I was a Taekwondo black belt, and I thought, I'll go in there and I'll show these jiu-jitsu guys what's up, kind of thing. And I remember just getting absolutely tossed around on my first day and being like, it's like that famous Danaher quote where he's just kind of like, I just want to know how this works. And so to try and become competent in it, because it felt like magic tricks, so I just became obsessed with jiu-jitsu right away, and just kind of been training ever since. So
that's incredible, man. I can relate. Taekwondo was my first art that I did too when I was like 7 years old, and I pursued it pretty seriously as a kid. But I remember one time distinctively. I remember watching a schoolyard fight actually, and one kid threw the other kid to the ground, and just sat on his chest and started pummeling him. So I went to class the next day and told my sensei, I'm like, hey, what do I do if like a bigger kid throws me on the ground and sits on me? And his answer was kind of like, well, you got to use your footwork and make sure that he can't do that. I'm like, yeah, but what if it does? What if that happens to me? And he's kind of like, well, he didn't really have, he just sort of like a word salad as his answer. And I was kind of like, all right, well, noted. Don't let that happen. But man, so coming from Calgary, man, that there's a lot of great jiu-jitsu and grapplers too outside of jiu-jitsu that all come from Calgary. You're a kid of the 90s, I assume. You look like you're about my age. Did you grow up watching like pro wrestling and all that stuff?
Not super into wrestling. My mom hated wrestling, so we never really watched it as a kid. I did get into the UFC though. Like around maybe 13, 14, I started watching UFC. So yeah, GSP, like Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell era is when I got into it. So I watched a lot of that, and it was the same sort of thing. It was kind of like watching that and then seeing them go to the ground before you know what's going on. It was kind of just like, oh, what is this, like, I don't like watching this ground stuff. I want to see these guys punch each other. But then once you kind of understand it, it's becomes a lot more fun to watch the ground stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, the reason I asked if you were in pro wrestling, my very earliest reference of Alberta was there was a handful of professional wrestlers that came from there. So I was just curious if that was something you were into. But yes, it sounds like you were into the UFC early on. So you started watching during the like the Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell era. When did you start training? When did you decide to like really sign up and commit to jiu-jitsu? Was it around that time or was it before that?
It was a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like '09 or so when I started jiu-jitsu. So I was 19 at the time. Yeah, it was when I moved to Regina for university. We did like a little bit of jiu-jitsu. Like after Taekwondo, my instructor, he would go to Regina every now and again and train, learn a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and then he'd come back and show us. So we'd like throw the like blue school mats down after jiu-jitsu or after Taekwondo class, and he'd like show us, here's what a rear naked choke is, and here's what a triangle. Like none of us had gis or belts or anything like that. So that was kind of my first introduction to it. But I started actually training at like a real gym, and I think it was '09, somewhere around there in Regina.
Very nice, man. What do you think it was about once you started training jiu-jitsu? Was there anything in particular that you really gravitated towards? Like, I know Taekwondo doesn't really have any direct connections with jiu-jitsu. So it's, you're going from a striking art to a grappling art. So it's not like a wrestler that might gravitate towards, top side pressure control and takedowns and things like that. Was there any position though in jiu-jitsu that you felt you did naturally gravitate towards?
I always liked playing guard for sure. Spider guard was my thing. I was always really small. I was one of the smaller guys in the gym. So being able to but I have flexible hips. So being able to get my grips on the sleeves and get my feet in the biceps, I felt was always it was just a good game for me. And it kind of came naturally to me for some reason. Top game took forever. Like it wasn't until purple belt that I started kind of studying the top game and trying to like apply passing and pressure. I was always more than happy to just be laying on my back with the spider grips. So that was kind of the first thing that drew me in for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I did a couple local competitions. Never did like an IBJJF or anything. And I haven't competed at all since blue belt. With touring and traveling and all that kind of stuff, it's just sort of like haven't been able to commit to like a training camp kind of a thing. And then I was also worried about injury, taking me off tour, or like, if I break a wrist or break some fingers, I'm hooped. So I've kind of not like sworn off competing, but it's just not really something that's on my radar. I do travel a lot though, and I drop into gyms. I think one of the like benefits of competing a lot is that you're training with people who aren't just your normal training partners, and it makes your jiu-jitsu better. And I feel like I get a little bit of that just by dropping into all these different gyms. So I get all kinds of different looks and different styles, and yeah. So I think that's been. I'm happy with that. I'm fine with not competing. Yeah. I prefer no-gi lately. It's kind of funny that I'm on the podcast now because I've barely trained in the last 2 years. Like when I was in Brazil, we were talking, I got back surgery and like It's like I've been kind of out of the game for the last little bit. But when I was training a lot, I kind of really started to gravitate towards no gi, especially traveling. It was just disgusting carrying around like stinky gis everywhere, and like laundry is a pretty rare thing when you're on tour living in a bus.
Yeah.
So I'd have this stinky gi hanging up in the back of the bus that everyone else would have to deal with. So at a certain point, I just said, you know what, I'm not bringing gis anymore. I'm just doing no gi. And I was really a gi guy before that. So I remember like I would drop into gyms as a purple belt, no gi, and my guard would be getting passed by white belts because without my grips, my spider grips, I had nothing. So it took me forever to get into it, but I really have gravitated towards no gi. So I think that's a little easier on the fingers. I don't really do anything specific though, to be honest with you. I think like at this point, like as a brown belt and just having trained so much, I kind of have a decent sense of when I'm in danger and when not. Obviously, like accidents can happen, but I don't death grip anything. Like if I am training in the gi and someone's really like trying to break my grip, I just let go. I'm not like, it's not worth it to me to break a finger holding on to a spider grip or a lapel grip or whatever. No gi, same sort of thing. Like if I get the inkling, if I'm framing on someone and I feel like maybe they're going to shift their hip down and like it could pop my wrist or my elbow weirdly, I just bring my hands back and let them pass my guard. It's not life or death. So that's kind of like, yeah. So I feel like I actually don't really do too much specific. I used to tape my fingers. I don't even do that anymore. I just kind of play safe and roll really chill, especially when I'm traveling.
That's great, man. Something you said there is something that I've picked up on pretty recently myself, actually. John Danaher kind of opened my eyes to the idea of grip fighting. I think that for a long time I had this incorrect idea of what effective and strong grip fighting was. I always thought it was, okay, man, you get good grips and they're kind of like inescapable grips. You want people to just be completely stuck in your grips. And John Danaher was explaining that it's really not that. It's about moving to the next grip once that one's broken. It's not overcommitting. It's always having the follow-up and always having an advantageous grip, whether it's inside or outside gripping. That's cool that you mentioned that, because it's something that I think that it sounds like your grip fighting game is a more refined grip fighting game because you're not overcommitting to things. And then in turn, it's great for you because you're not hurting your fingers as much. So that's really outstanding.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's a double whammy. It's like it keeps your hands safe, but also it's just like you said, it's knowing when the current position is lost and trying to get ahead on the next one. And that's kind of how I treat my grip fighting game for sure.
That's great, man. It's funny. You were talking about your back injury. We talked about that when you were here in Sao Paulo. In fact, thank you again for inviting me to the show. And so I wish so bad I could have made it, man. Unfortunately, we were just leaving town when you guys were here performing. But I definitely want to come. I definitely want to come see you guys live next time you're around. But we were talking about how you're coming off a back surgery, and at the time I just now got back myself to training due to a neck injury. I was out for about like 9 or 10 months. And during that time, I've picked up guitar again. I'm taking it really seriously. I have a guy that comes to the house and teaches every week, and I'm really, really enjoying it. But one thing that's going through my head is like, man, I'm going to go back to playing gi a lot now, and I wonder how well my fingers are going to be performing on this guitar as I'm trying to like build up my bass and my fundamentals. I'm starting to think about committing to more no gi myself for the same reason. Because I do like I play a lot of sleeve grips and things like that in my game as well. But yeah, it's something that I know a lot of people that do work with their hands have to be mindful. I've known plumbers and things like that, people that work with their hands that are kind of like, dude, I don't know if I can do this gi thing much longer now because it's really affecting my livelihood.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So with your back surgery, did you have like herniated discs? What was going on? And was this jiu-jitsu related, or was this something outside of jiu-jitsu that caused your back injury?
It was outside of jiu-jitsu. So it was a disc extrusion, I think they call it, where the disc actually breaks open and then some of the stuff comes out. So I was deadlifting one day. We were on tour in the States, and we all got like, I think the norovirus or something. Like we got deathly ill, and it was like, there's 12 of us that all travel on the bus together. So there's 4 band and 8 crew. And it was sort of this thing where like 2 people would get it, and then once they were starting to get over it, another 2 people would get it. And it just kind of ripped through the entire band and crew. Everyone was super sick. So I was one of the first ones that got it. And we came home from that tour and I was starting to feel a little bit better. And I usually have a rule where after I get home from tour, I take like 2 or 3 days and I don't do anything. I'm just like, I'm usually bagged, especially if it's an overseas tour and I'm like jet lagged and stuff. I don't, because that's like injury zone, right? Or you're making yourself sick again or whatever because you're just exhausted. But for some dumb reason, I decided, maybe it was just because like I was feeling a little bit better after getting so sick. I was like, I'll just do a little bit of light deadlifting today. And I did a couple pulls and they weren't even that crazy. And I woke up the next day and I was kind of like, oh, my back kind of hurts. We went on another tour. I like went to my physio. He said, yeah, you probably have a bulging disc. Like, just be careful. Don't train too much. Take some time off lifting and jiu-jitsu and whatever. And we went on tour and everything was okay. And came home and we had to take our fence down in our backyard. And my wife and I and our neighbor were out there kind of working away. And I bent over to pick something up and it just popped. And it broke open. I guess this is rare. Like the stuff came out of the disc, the like inner material, and it went directly to the side. I guess usually they go backwards. This one went directly to the left, and there's like a nerve root there, and it like crumpled that nerve root. So I had like I got nerve damage. I can still barely like lift my toes on my left foot. So the like De La Riva's out of the question on the left side now because I can't like pull my feet back. So it was brutal. And anyways, I ended up getting I had to get a fusion. They removed the disc and I got hardware in there now and stuff like that. So yeah, that was mid 20 when was that? 2024, I guess now. And then I went back on tour right after surgery, and that was kind of a mistake in hindsight. And it's kept me off the mat for a little while. So I'm actually taking a little bit of time off tour right now just to actually heal up and kind of get better, because it was a nasty injury. So it's affected not only jiu-jitsu obviously, but like performing live and everything too.
I can imagine. That sounds terrible, man. Well,
it was crazy.
So I always appreciate talking to touring musicians that train, because something that we hear a lot in jiu-jitsu is people saying like, man, my life is just busy. I don't have time to train as much as I'd like to. And I'm not saying those aren't legitimate claims, and I get it. But it's nice seeing people that do have a truly hectic schedule of traveling and touring and performing and everything that goes with that, who are still able to commit to jiu-jitsu, still able to commit to their conditioning. Sounds like you lift weights as well on top of jiu-jitsu. Talk to me about that. How do you I guess structure your training while you're out there touring the world playing music? Because it sounds like you're able to stay consistent when you're not hurt.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. Like I usually try, the challenge with tour is that I'm always busy in the evenings. That's when obviously showtime is. And that's when the like vast majority of jiu-jitsu classes are. And it's not like dropping into a weights gym where you can kind of just go in whenever and get your workout in. Like you kind of got to drop in for a class or whatever. So I'll usually spend a little bit of time before tour just kind of Googling gyms in the area where we're playing, trying to find somewhere that has like a noon or a 1 p.m. class. Always try and look for no-gi. And in the States, it's really good. Like there's a gym everywhere. Like there's gyms everywhere now, which is awesome. It's a little bit trickier in Europe to find gyms. But in the States, like pretty much everywhere we go has a gym. If I can find a noon class, I throw it in my calendar. So I'll just kind of like put them all in my calendar. I make sure I get a couple of days off. I don't train as much because on tour, like just with performing every night and sleeping on a moving bus and all this kind of stuff, like you're not getting the same recovery that you do when you're at home. So if I can get 2 or 3 days a week in, I'll usually do that. And then maybe 1 or 2 days of lifting per week kind of a thing. And then also just making sure I have days off to just kind of relax and hang out before the show.
That's great, man. Obviously, like I've said, there's jiu-jitsu's popularity has grown across a lot of different industries, music being one of them. There's a lot of musicians, a lot of famous musicians we know now who are really dedicated jiu-jitsu people. While you're out there on tour and kind of around the world, are you able to ever link up with other musicians that train as well? Are there guys in the band, in your band, that you've gotten into jiu-jitsu as well? I guess, can you find training partners when you can't find a specific academy?
Yeah, I usually can, especially now that I've been training on the road for a couple of years. A lot of these places that we revisit, I know people from the last time I was there. So sometimes if there's not a class, I can just like message somebody and be like, hey, like, do you want to find somewhere to go train? Like, do you have a key to the gym or whatever? And usually if there's no class or whatever, and I've been there before and I know somebody, we can usually make it happen. You mentioned Matt Hafey from Trivium. I actually know him. I got connected with him through Twitch, actually. It was actually, I listened to him on this show. It was when I learned that he streamed on Twitch, and it was kind of one of the reasons I started streaming on Twitch too, actually, was after listening to that episode, which is cool. But so Matt and I have tried to link up a couple times on tour, but our schedules have never lined up. But I've trained at his gym. He put me in touch with the guys at his gym in Orlando there. And it was awesome. And then I also bought some of those like roll up Dolomir mats, and we throw those in the truck when we're traveling. So I got mats everywhere. So that if I can't find anything, I'll try and rope some of the band guys into rolling around a little bit. And sometimes I'm successful, sometimes not, but yeah.
That's great. Have you gotten any of them into it? I mean, are any of the guys in your band into jiu-jitsu now because of you?
Nate was doing it a little bit before I got hurt. And then it just was one of those things where like, he's like a super beginner and it didn't really feel comfortable like dropping into gyms on tour or anything. Like without going with me or whatever. So he kind of stopped after I got hurt, but hopefully once I get back and we're training more, he'll get back into it. He was good at it. He picked it up quick.
Speaking of like of maintaining discipline while traveling and touring, what does your diet look like when you're traveling? Because I know that's a big complaint for not just people who are in bands, but people who travel for work. They just say, man, you end up in these traps of just fast food and late night eating and that kind of thing. Has that been a struggle as you've been touring? And if so, what do you do to counterbalance it?
Yeah, it's a huge struggle. My diet is absolutely terrible. I wish I could say it was better on or off tour, but it's not. I'm like, I've always been like a hard gainer, except for the last couple of years. But I was always like just this tiny, scrawny little pipsqueak. So I could always get away with eating whatever I wanted and it not like affecting my weight or my health or anything. Yeah. Since getting injured and, sitting around a lot and being, 35 years old now, it's starting to catch up with me a little bit. So I always knew this day would come. I was saying this to my wife a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I always knew this was going to happen where I'd get to a situation where I'm going to have to start taking it seriously. And I think I'm getting there now and I'm really terrible at it. So I wish I had some tips or some insight there, but no, I just have a terrible diet.
You know what, man? I always say if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, I would be like a morbidly obese guy because I love food. I love food, and the food that I love is not the most healthy food. So I do have to like have some. I balance it out. I'm on a pretty strict diet during the week, and I have I have like a cheat day once a week. But yeah, if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, none of that would exist. I would just be a dude that eats all the time. So I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you completely on that.
Candy is my big one.
You're a sweets guy. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God. Late night snacking like before bed. Oh dude, I can put down Sour Patch Kids like you wouldn't believe.
Dude, I get stuck in this loop of salty and sweet combination. Like if you ever seen like at a party, like where someone will have a bowl of like M&Ms and peanuts mixed up in the same bowl, dude, I'll just sit there on this couch, just M&M peanut. I get stuck in this like sweet salt, abyss that I end up into. So, but yeah. Well, man, I'll tell you what, Colton, we've reached about the halfway point of the show here, man. Let me play the pummel game with you. Right. You're well aware of the game. Again, I appreciate you listening to the show. And for anyone out there listening that's new to the show, the pummel is basically a series of random questions. Some of these are about jiu-jitsu. Some of them have nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. But Colton, if you are ready to take on the pummel game, we are ready for you, my friend.
Let's do it.
By the way, guys, this week the pummel game is brought to you by BJJ Fanatics Gear.com, the best resource for BJJ gear online. The internet's full of cheaply made rash guards and tacky designs. BJJ Fanatics Gear.com offers the best materials available and refined designs for everybody. They've also got gis and shorts and shirts and anything else you may need, so check them out at BJJFanaticsGear.com. Question number 1, what is the largest animal you think you could beat in hand-to-hand combat?
Oh, geez. Maybe like a small monkey.
I can appreciate that. Are we talking spider monkey? Or are we talking like even something even smaller, like one of those squirrel-sized monkeys? What kind of monkey?
Yeah, maybe spider monkey at the biggest.
Spider. Okay, yeah. I can appreciate that. We have guests every now and then that'll throw out things like gorilla or chimp, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think
All
so.
right, man. I appreciate your confidence, man. I appreciate your confidence. There's a few people that are like regular listeners that every episode, they're like, I can't believe this guy said he'd fight a lion. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know. If you found a genie lamp and normal genie rules apply, so no killing people, no wishing for more wishes, what would you wish for?
Oh, geez. Okay. I'd wish for a healthy back. That'd be number one. Let's just scratch that injury right out of there. I would wish for $1 billion. Why not? And I would wish for, third one. Hey, man, that's a tough one. Another billion.
I love it. Why not, man? Double down. Have you ever had a supernatural experience?
Nope.
No aliens, no ghosts, nothing like that.
No, I wish I had, but nothing.
Cool. Do you have any tattoos? And if so, what's your favorite one?
I do. I got I have one on my chest. It's like the International Taekwondo Federation logo with like some kind of like I was 18 years old in like the early 2000s, so it's got some tribal stuff around it, right? It's classic. And then I have this Legend of Zelda sleeve here. I can show you most of it.
Nice.
This is definitely my favorite one. It's almost fully done.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Well done.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that done? Was that up in Canada?
Yeah, that's just here in Regina. A guy named Chris Oakley.
Nice work.
He's incredible. Yeah.
Nice work, man. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, you were hard into Taekwondo then, huh? You got the whole federation across the chest. That's not a that's not a part-time dabbler in Taekwondo. I like it.
No, I was right in there.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
What do you think is the worst job that you've ever had in your life?
Man, I've been pretty lucky with my jobs, to be honest with you. Before being a touring musician, I was a teacher, mostly a substitute teacher.
Cool.
Oh man, I'd probably say that one, but it's not all bad. I would just say that like that job can be terrible, and there's things about it that I really didn't like, but there are also things about it that I really, really loved. I loved working with the kids. It was just all the administrative stuff and dealing with parents and kind of like all this extra crap that you had to do. So that would be the worst probably, but also one of the best, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those double-edged swords. I've got friends that teach as well. I had one that taught in Atlanta and liked it, worked with special ed kids and really enjoyed it. I had another friend that was a teacher in Baltimore that was like, dude, that was rough. That was not like, if you ever seen like the movie Stand By Me or whatever, it's kind of like, yeah, like one of those, or no, not Stand By Me. What was the one where the inner city school? Anyway, tough school is where he was teaching. So it depends on the experience. But even then he said, yeah, it's nice knowing that you're making an impact and helping kids and hopefully putting them on a good trajectory. So yeah. I feel you on that one. What's a secret talent that you have that people might not know about?
Oh man, I can ride the unicycle.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Me and some friends, when we were in like middle school, we all bought unicycles and we got into watching these guys like that did, like they're like skateboard tricks, but like on unicycles. So we got into like doing like trick unicycling stuff. I haven't ridden one in probably over 10 years, but I think I probably still could. And since getting hurt, I've been programming games. That's been kind of like I got into it over COVID when everything shut down. We weren't on tour. I didn't have kids at the time or anything, so I needed a new hobby and started learning how to code. Got really into it over COVID. Went back on tour and normal life came in, and I kind of did it here and there. But since getting hurt and not training, like basically all that jiu-jitsu time and focus and study has just been like programming. So I've been doing a lot of that lately. That's really cool. What kind of languages are you doing? Like Python, Ruby? What do you for gaming? What's the best thing these days? I just made a game. It's actually releasing on Steam today. Actually. Oh no shit! Really? Yeah. What's it called? What's it called? It's called Spaceman. I'm gonna go download it. Yeah, Spaceman, all caps. There's 2 Spaceman games on Steam. I'm kind of surprised they let me do this. I didn't know until after I already like made the page and everything. But it's the Spaceman with all caps and the yellow logo, so you'll see it. But I made that one with a framework called Love 2D, which uses the Lua programming language.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah. I've actually been kind of interested in dabbling in like Python and other stuff myself just for fun. But yeah, I have no idea what people are using these days for games. Cause I know that that's a really fast moving area of programming. It's obviously like every year there's like a new systems and new graphics and things like that advance quickly. So very cool, man. That's awesome.
If there's all kinds of like engines and stuff, like I started with Game Maker, which is like, it's got a level editor and a sprite editor and everything built in, and kind of just like the thing that I've really fallen in love with making games is like the programming aspect. So I've been going more and more like lower level and using, so like this Love 2D framework is just all text based. There's no editor or anything like that. You just do everything through code.
Oh wow! So there's no visual component to it. It's just basically you plugging in code.
You're just coding it all yourself, kind of thing. So that's been super fun. But yeah, if you ever get started and you need some tips, just let me know, man.
Oh hell yeah! No, I will.
It's
for
super
sure.
fun.
That sounds fun. Is it expensive to get started? Like, do you have to like how much are some of these platforms you're using?
They're like Game Maker. I think I paid like you can download it and use it for free, and then you pay $100 when you want to release a game. Okay. Love 2D is totally free. Unity is free. Godot is another popular one that's free. You can get started, like as long as you got a laptop or something, you can get started pretty much for free. That's incredible, dude. That sounds like a really cool hobby. Yeah. Are you a big gamer outside of creating games? Have you always been a big gamer? Yeah. I always loved games and computers and stuff like that. Give me your top 3 favorite video games of all time. Okay. Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That would be number 1. That's kind of my default number 1 because it like blew my mind when I was a kid. Got me into music and got me into video games, and it's just got like a real special place in my heart. I'd say the second one is this game called Outer Wilds that I played over COVID. That's probably the best game I've actually ever played. It's just that Ocarina of Time has that default number 1. But that game is incredible. It's like if you're into like exploration and puzzle, like I really like indie games and like retro games and like puzzle games and that kind of stuff. This one's like you're exploring this little solar system and trying to piece together this mystery. It's really, 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 really fun, really cool. That would be number 2. And then number 3, let's see. Probably I played this really cool game called, oh man, that's a tough question. Return of the Obra Dinn, which is another kind of puzzle game where you're like this, it's in like the 1800s or something. The story is this cargo ship goes missing at sea. And then like a couple of years later, it washes back up and everyone on board is dead. And you have to go in and sort of like piece together what happened on the ship and identify all the people that were on there and this kind of a thing. So it's kind of this big sort of, it's almost like a big game of Clue, but it's got like this really cool art style and amazing music. And it was made by a solo developer named Lucas Pope. So that's another really, they just never played anything like it. So that'd probably be the top 3. That's a tough question though. That's awesome. No, that's great. Those second two, number 2 and number 3, I actually hadn't heard of those games. I'll have to check those out. Check them out. Yeah. If you're into that kind of like puzzle, mystery, exploration kind of thing, those are both fantastic. I've always liked those kinds of games. Like there was one when I was younger. Do you remember Myst? Yeah. Myst was like kind of the first game that I encountered like that, where it's kind of like a exploratory puzzle solving kind of thing. And then there was a sequel to that. I think it was called like Riven or Rift or something. Was it Riven? Yeah, Riven. Yeah. Those are those kinds of games. Cool. You'll love these. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'll check them out. I wrote them down already. And I'm definitely going to download Spaceman. In fact, everybody today, when you hear this episode, get on Steam, download Spaceman. Let's support our boy. Thanks, man. Let's see what else. What is something that you wish you were better at outside of martial arts? Art, visual art. Yeah. I'm not very good at it. And probably could get better at it if I put time into it, but just haven't really put time into it. When I make games, I do pixel art, so I'm starting to get a little bit better at pixel art. But like my wife's an incredible artist, and that's an ability that I always wish I was more natural at. Yeah, good answer, man. I like it. Yeah. What do you think is your favorite? We talked about our diets. What's your favorite bad food to eat? Favorite junk food? Oh man. Shouted out Sour Patch Kids earlier. But I was going to say it's definitely some sort of like sour candy, probably Sour Patch Kids. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that might eke it out. Nerds. I like nerds a lot. Nerds are
You remember Warheads?
Yeah. Yeah.
Warheads, those were like, if you like sour stuff, it's great. But man, I feel like they put some kind of chemical on that I swear damages your tongue. Like I swear it's like,
it hurts, right?
Yeah, it's like a chemical weapon almost. Like it's way too like it's like I get what they're trying to do, but it's like, man, it's a good name for the candy because it really does feel like a weapon almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, what do you think is your most hated food? What's something you cannot eat no matter what?
I'm not very picky of an eater. I really don't like pineapple on pizza.
Okay, all right.
And I can't remember what this is called. My dad lives in Taiwan, and I've gone out there and visited him a couple times, and there was this like fermented Japanese like bean paste, and usually I'm into that kind of stuff, but I can't remember what it was called. But this stuff was absolutely disgusting. It was probably the worst thing I've ever tried, and I'll eat anything. Like I love going to Taiwan and trying all the duck neck and all the weird stuff, the snake soup, and like I'll eat anything. But that stuff was disgusting. I can't remember. I can't
remember what that's called either, but it's come up on the show a couple times when I asked that question. And, and they say it smells literally like the worst fart you've ever smelt ever. It's supposed to be like really like pungent kind of. Yeah. I've never had it, but I forget the name, but I do know what you're referencing. Yeah. What do you think is your most hated position in jiu-jitsu to get stuck in?
Bottom mount, probably. I'm terrible at getting out of bottom mount. I've always been bad at it. I have like maybe blue belt level of bottom mount escape if I'm being generous to myself. Usually when I get stuck there, I just try and stay safe, and I just sit there and wait for them to open up some space and hope I get lucky to get like a knee in or something like that, because I'm just terrible at getting out of there. Like if a big white belt gets on top of me, I'm just like, oh, day's over.
Yeah, it's like this sucks. Yeah. Well, I think that's half the battle, though. It's just what we described is just wait. Like a lot of times you just can't force stuff. You do have to kind of wait for them. One of my instructors back in the day used to always explain to me that like when you're in a bad position, there are certain things you can do. Obviously, you can set up some frames and start creating a little bit of space and stuff. But ultimately, if the person is just controlling the position, you're safe. It's just uncomfortable. But in order for them to attack you and do something further than just pin you, they've got to create some space naturally. Exactly. And so, I think that's half the battle anyway. But I do feel you. Yeah, there's nothing worse than just getting smothered, especially if they have like the big belly and they're just like, oh man, like several weight classes ahead of you, and they're just sinking into your guts. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Who do you think's your favorite grappler of all time?
Oh man, to watch, probably Gordon.
Yeah, good answer.
I know it's kind of the basic answer. It's like people ask my favorite banjo player, and I always say Earl Scruggs. It's like the most basic answer ever. But there's a reason those guys are the kings, right? Like, so I love watching. I love that really calm, chill style. Sort of just knowing what's going to happen and having an answer for everything. I just kind of, maybe it's sort of like the laziness thing we were talking about earlier, but like I kind of relate to that style versus like a Roberto who's like super aggressive and crazy. I'm more of like I like to go in and kind of relax and flow around a little bit, and I like watching Gordon compete.
That's a great way you described Gordon's game. Is that he's aware of all the variables. That's what it feels like. He knows the solution for whatever is yet to come, and it is really something to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, and he lets his opponent do whatever they want, right? Yeah, he's not like forcing anything. It's just you do what you want and I have an answer for it, and I really like that approach to jiu-jitsu. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It really is. I think it's like the kind of the epitome of what jiu-jitsu is, Yeah. What do you think? Who do you think's your favorite MMA fighter of all time? Oh, that's a good one. Probably GSP. I'm Canadian, so of course. He's a national hero over here. Of course. Yeah, he's awesome. I've been really enjoying Jiri, watching or Yuri or however you. Yeah. He's just crazy. Like awesome. I love that guy. I love his whole shtick and his whole vibe. He's been a blast too. But yeah, probably GSP number one. Great answer. Great answers. What do you think is your biggest phobia? Oh man. I don't think I have too many. It would probably be heights. Or maybe like enclosed spaces. Like the thought of getting stuck in an elevator really freaks me out. Yeah. Heights freak me out. But both of those are still pretty low. Like I don't have any like really debilitating phobia.
Yeah. Do you think being in jiu-jitsu for as long as you have has helped with your claustrophobia at all?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of get over that pretty quick.
Yeah. That's something I've noticed as well. Although I'll tell you what gets me, man, and this isn't like necessarily a phobia. It's just that when I see this or watch anything about it, I start sweating. Is when people are like doing that, like when they're free exploring in caves and they get to spots where it's like they're like in a tunnel that's barely wider than their body and they're having to like shimmy their shoulder, bro. Like it makes me want to vomit if I think about it too much. It's like I would absolutely freak out. No amount of jiu-jitsu makes me feel better about that.
No, there's nothing, dude. And like, that Nutty Putty Cave thing. I don't know if you know about that one. The guy who like climbed into that. He like, it's a sad story because the guy ended up dying, but like it was some cave explorer. He crawled into this thing. You can Google, like, if you just Google Nutty Putty Cave, you'll see the like position that he got himself into. He was just exploring this tiny little thing that was barely big enough for his body. And I guess he thought there was a way out going down, and he just got stuck in this like little crevice, and they tried to get him out for hours and hours, and they just couldn't get him out.
I'm gonna regret this, but I'm gonna Google image search to see the position. Oh Jesus, no!
Yeah, you'll see just like the diagram. That's like the worst. God, bro, worst way to go, man.
Oh, dude, that gives me the creeps, dude. That's horrible. Rest in peace to that guy. But geez, dude, what a way to go. Yeah, there's no amount of jiu-jitsu that's ever going to make me feel better about something like that. No. What do you think is what's your biggest pet peeve? What's something that really irritates you?
Inefficiency. Like when something's taking longer than it needs to, it drives me absolutely insane. Like I hate like when you have a meeting about something and it's like, okay, we're going to meet about, and then it just ends up being like social club. Like we're just chit chatting. I'm just like, dude, like let's chit chat after. Can we just do the meeting? Like that drives me crazy. And this is like traveling and being in airports and stuff all the time. It's just like, it drives me absolutely up the wall. The inefficiency, or like dilly dallying, like when you're waiting for somebody and you're late for something and they're taking their time. It's just like, oh my God, it drives me absolutely insane. That's definitely my biggest pet peeve.
Dude, that gets me too. I tell my wife, we have a running thing where I call them in the way people. And it's just people that like have no sense of like a line of people behind them as they're fucking around at the register, or like, or like a guy that's like blocking traffic because he's not paying attention. Dude, in the way people.
No urgency. It's like, don't you have somewhere to go? It's like, aren't you in your car right now because you're trying to get somewhere? Like, what are you doing?
It's like Tuesday at 3:00, sir. What are you out here holding up the rest of the world for?
Yeah.
What do you think is your favorite comedian? Do you have a favorite comedian?
Probably Louis C.K.
Good answer.
He's like, I don't think anyone's made me laugh harder than he has. Some of those specials, he had like a run of 3 or 4 in a row that were just like, I would just howl, absolutely howl, like be crying, laughing so hard. I think he's probably my favorite.
That's a great answer. Since having kids, I've appreciated his humor more and more too. Because his Fig Newtons bit that he does the pig. Oh, bro,
Pig Newtons. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's like one of my favorite lines. And it's funny because I find myself in those situations where I'm just tired and run down, and my kids are like arguing with me about little stuff. It's like, dude, they're 4. Don't engage. Don't argue with them. Like, okay, fine. Spider-Man's green. Whatever. Let him say whatever stupid thing. You know what I mean? Like he's 4. You know. But it's like there's some days where you're just like, no, he's not, dude. He's not green. He's not green. He's blue and red, you know? So yeah, I try not to, but Louis C.K. is great.
He's so funny.
Who's a historical figure that you would have liked to meet?
Maybe Teddy Roosevelt.
Good answer.
He's just the ultimate badass. Every now and again, I've probably like every couple of years, I'll find myself reading the Wikipedia entry on Teddy Roosevelt just because some of the stories about him are hilarious. He's like a type of person from a bygone era. They just don't make Teddy Roosevelts anymore. None of them exist. So he's pretty badass, pretty remarkable guy.
Absolutely. You know, he's one of the first Americans to do jiu-jitsu too. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Final question for the Pummel game, Colton. If a zombie apocalypse breaks out right now in Canada, what's the first thing you do?
Packing up the wife and kids and going to my buddy Marlon's place. He lives in a little town called Mustatum in northern Saskatchewan. he's a hunter, so he's got guns, he's got everything you need. I'd feel very, I would trust him with my life and my family's lives. So that would be number one. We'd get in the truck and go to Marlon's.
I was going to assume that Marlon had some firepower at his house. That's that's excellent, man. Colton, that was the final question for the pommel game. Congratulations, you win. You got your double underhooks.
All right. Hell yeah.
And once again, guys, the Pummel Game was brought to you by BJJFanaticsGear.com. Head over to the website to check out the very best gear on the market. So man, let me run you through a few more questions here. So we were talking about music and kind of some of the crossover between jiu-jitsu that happens. What similarities have you noticed, if any, between learning jiu-jitsu and learning to play an instrument? Is there any correlating concepts or things that you've noticed that are similar?
Yeah, I think from like a higher level kind of view, they're similar in that in order to get good, you just need to put in a lot of reps. So with jiu-jitsu, you just got to practice your technique over and over and over again until it becomes comfortable. When you're rolling, you got to just roll and roll and roll and roll. There's no secret formula that's going to get you better besides just doing the thing a lot. And it's the same thing with music. Like if you want to be like you're saying you're playing guitar. I mean, maybe there's some sort of way you could conceive of guitar, or like there's some sort of practicing you could do that would increase your efficiency, your progress per hour or something could get a little bit higher. But really at the end of the day, what you have to do is you just have to sit there and just play the guitar a lot if you want to get good at guitar. And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. And it really, I think that's the same with learning anything. It's just doing the thing a lot. And that's kind of like, the kind of the big lesson I've learned from the band and from jiu-jitsu. Like I was really, really scared of going on stage in the early days of the band. And now it's like, I don't feel anything when I'm up there. Basically, it's just like, it's become so comfortable. And I think if you want to be a good, musician, first you got to sit there and play the guitar a lot. But if you want to be playing guitar in front of people is different than just playing guitar. So if you want to get good at that, you have to do that specific thing. I think if you want to compete in jiu-jitsu, you have to compete a lot, right? You just have to get used to competing to the point where competing feels like a normal day. Like it's just not anything bigger than that in your head, I guess. And that's, I think like the only way to do that is to just do that specific thing a lot. So if you want to be a high level competitor, it's not enough to just train in the gym and then compete once or twice a year. I think you have to be competing all the time, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to get competition feeling normal. If you want to be a musician that plays in front of people, sure, you got to practice on your own a lot. And that's like sort of the lower level skill building part of it. But then there's sort of the higher level performing is its own thing. And then you have to get to a point where performing feels totally comfortable and you don't get that adrenaline response. So it's that same sort of thing with anything. I think it's like, there's like a skill, you got to increase your skill in the thing. And you do that just by sitting there and doing that work on your own. But then if you want to compete, or you want to perform in front of people, or you want to be a public speaker, you have to learn. You have to practice writing speeches, but then you also have to just do a lot of speeches to get good at it. So, I think just sort of the idea that the only way to get comfortable, at least for me, the only way to get comfortable with something, there's no like sports psychology or kind of like this sort of thing to like make you more confident on stage. It's just like getting on stage as much as you possibly can until it becomes normal.
That's great. I love that, man. Yeah, I love that. And that's been something I've come to realize as well. Like when I look at competitors that I train with, like real serious competitors, they really do treat a competition on a Saturday as if it's just an open mat. I mean, they've done it so many times, and it's something that I realized in my own journey. Like I would get real nervous before competitions, and I realized, well, yeah, it's because you're competing like once every 6 months. Like back when I was competing more as like a blue and purple belt, it'd be these long stretches between them. So it became this big sort of mountain that I'm about to jump up and climb on, versus something that we just do frequently. I love the idea of exposing yourself constantly to those things to make it very normalized. I can see that being very transferable between both music and jiu-jitsu.
Totally.
Talk to me about stage fright. So as you mentioned, you were obviously you're comfortable now that you're doing this professionally for a long time. But when you were going through that period of when you were afraid to be on stage and very nervous, what do you think clicked for you once you started doing it enough? Because obviously the first handful of times were probably pretty rough, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if there really was a clicking point. Like, I think it was just sort of this gradual thing where every time I got on stage, I was maybe a little bit less nervous than the previous time. Right. And that was it. Like, there wasn't sort of this like switch that clicked in my head. It wasn't kind of like, oh, you just like imagine all the audience members naked, or like, you know, like people give you those tricks and that kind of thing. Like, it was honestly just exposure. And it is one of those things. It's like you said, like when you're competing and you're watching the high level guys compete and you see how calm they are, we kind of like, I think sometimes when it's like we can get it backwards and we go, okay, well, this guy is like, he's not treating the competition as like, he's super calm and not treating the competition as a big deal. So then I need to I need to do that to my psychology. But it's like, it's backwards, because the reason he has that psychology is because he's competed so much. So it's like, if you're trying to emulate the psychology, you're kind of like putting the cart before the horse. Whereas like, you just need to do that thing until it becomes normal for you. And where that point is going to be is probably different for everybody. But like, yeah, for me, it was just like, just getting on stage and doing it. And like, even per tour, still the first like show or two, 1 or 2 shows on a tour, especially if we've had like a long break, I'm a little bit nervous up there, right? My heart rate's going a little bit, but then by like show 3, it's just, you know, totally back to normal, totally calm. So yeah, I don't know. I hope I'm explaining that, the kind of point I'm trying to make well, where it's sort of like, yeah, I think like, I think Danaher's talked about this too, but like the reason he talks about why his athletes are so confident, it's not because he's like telling them, yeah, you're the man, like you're going to go out there and they're confident because they competed so much against the highest level guys in the world. Like nothing's going to give you Gordon Ryan confidence besides just competing at that level that Gordon Ryan competes at. Like, it's just sort of, yeah, it's just like, I think the like, I don't know, the mindset follows the behavior, maybe, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Rather than the other way around.
Yeah, one of the most impactful things I heard Danaher say, he actually said it in an Instagram post. He was talking about the illusion of competition, and how he says half the battle is just understanding that, you know, when you go to a big event like an ADCC, let's say the World Championships, man, there's lights, there's the announcer from Pride, there's, you know, laser shows almost, there's fire, there's all this crowd. He says it's all really just an illusion. He says if you took if we were in a simulation and you just deleted those layers of the simulation, it's just you and another person doing jiu-jitsu on a mat. You know, it's what you do every day, all the time. And I think that was a really cool way to look at it, is that, yeah, a lot of times the things that are not directly impacting you can be very distracting, you know? And I imagine for playing live, like obviously you play banjo wonderfully, and whether or not you're playing in front of a crowd of 10,000 people or by yourself in your basement, you're playing the banjo. It's just your skill that you're doing. Yeah, but sometimes exactly. I could see where it's like, man, now this is different than playing in my basement. I'm playing in front of a huge crowd of people. You know, I could see where that would throw you off a little bit, but yeah, it's interesting how it really is just an illusion at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah,
that's a good point. And maybe that's what, like, I hadn't thought of this, but maybe that's like what becoming more comfortable with doing the, like, performing or competing is sort of like, maybe you get better at it, like, not paying attention to the distractions. Like, I think, like, when we're on stage playing, it's like, I'm just thinking about my parts and what the other guys are doing. I'm not really thinking about the crowd all that much. But when I think about the early days, yeah, I was probably thinking mostly about the crowd and less about my playing. And maybe that's kind of what, as you get more experience doing the thing, maybe it's just sort of like this, you kind of get to, you sort of learn how to cull out everything that isn't important to what you're doing. And I think, like, high level performers and competitors, maybe that's the difference, is that they're able to just focus on the essential thing that they're doing and not the illusions.
Yeah. Yeah. Something else I found really interesting too is just how we learn how to learn things based on other things we've learned in the past. Like it's kind of funny. Like you did music first and then jiu-jitsu, correct? It was you were a musician first. That's what I thought. So for you, it was music first and then learning jiu-jitsu. For me, it's been jiu-jitsu first and learning music. And so what I found is that my jiu-jitsu has prepared me to learn how to learn better, if that makes sense. Like when I've been joking, I've been trying to learn guitar for like 30 years. And what happens with me is I'll practice it for like 2 days and then it collects dust for the next 4 years. And I'll say, hey, you know what? I'll grab, I'll see like a Black Sabbath documentary. I'm like, oh dude, I want to break out my guitar and I'm all motivated to play guitar again, play for a week, put it away again. And so I think that jiu-jitsu has taught me that, man, you really do, like you said, it's a lot of the power of repetition, the importance of fundamentals, learning the fundamental pieces, and that you really can't go much further without learning those and paying attention to them. And then also having like specific intent-driven drills and exercises to learn things. Like for guitar, it's like a spider walk. You learn how to like walk with your fingers back and forth. You try different patterns. Those are things that before jiu-jitsu you couldn't do. You couldn't have used a hammer to beat that into my head and made it stick. I was the worst student ever. And it wasn't until jiu-jitsu taught me how to learn things properly that I've been able to kind of learn other things in life. Have you found that music and being a musician and learning how to play music has helped you in your journey of learning jiu-jitsu? Is there similar models that you have that have been applicable?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like learning how to learn is one of the best skills you could develop if you want to like get good at anything. It's kind of it's sort of hard to articulate what that even means, though. It's something I kind of think about quite often, actually, because I feel like with jiu-jitsu and with banjo, like I've gotten decent at both of those things. And I think like if I do have a strength, I don't think I'm the most like a naturally technical musician. I'm definitely not like a super like naturally strong or super athletic person, but I think like what I have gotten kind of good at is just sort of learning how to learn, and how to take things and break them down, like you said, into kind of the most fundamental building blocks and understanding those building blocks and building up from there. It's the same thing with like, I mentioned earlier, been coding a lot. It's the same sort of thing, like just breaking down what each line of code is doing from kind of like the simplest. Like I tell people all the time, like coding is actually not that hard. It's really just pure logic. It's just that you're just structuring these really simple, or sort of stringing these little simple building blocks together to make something more complex. And that's everything. Like everything can be broken down into the kind of the tiniest building blocks of whatever the thing is that you're trying to do. And then another thing too is just being like, sort of developing a sense of your own strengths and weaknesses within that thing, and just being able to like objectively and honestly assess your own skill in something, and chasing your strengths, but also working on your weaknesses. And I wish I had like an actual step-by-step, like, you know, objective kind of here's how you do it, but it's kind of more of an abstract idea, I guess. But just like being able to assess where you are in a skill versus where you'd like to be, and breaking things down into the most fundamental, simplest, easiest, like ways to conceive of the thing in your head, I think is like, it's been huge for learning anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny too, like when I think back to like wanting to learn music as a kid, I remember foolishly convincing myself that some people were just like, oh, well, he plays so well because he's very naturally talented, and I'm just not. And I don't think I'm going to ever get good at this. And I see people making that same mistake of thought in jiu-jitsu as well. Like they see people that, you know, accelerate through the belt ranks or do well in competition while they're kind of struggling, not realizing that, man, you know, everyone goes through struggles. In fact, that's a big thing I've learned from doing this show for 10 years is the amount of people I've talked to that I assumed would have had great success in competition from the very beginning is very, very, very small. Like I was talking to Buchecha, and Buchecha was talking about how he lost like every match he ever did up until like blue belt or something like that. He was like, he had a really, really rough run. In fact, Bernardo Faria had the same thing. He had a real rough time early on, and he just kept showing up. And you have to understand the power of just continuing to show up. And I think that's one thing that as a young guy, I didn't understand with guitar and with music is that it's not that these guys just picked up a guitar and started shredding. They had to sit there and they had to play Mary Had a Little Lamb 1,000 times, and they had to learn their chords and they had to learn their progressions and they had to learn their skills, the fundamentals. And it's nice for people to hear that in jiu-jitsu, especially because it is such a difficult thing to get good at. But anyone that you see, from Gordon Ryan to Marcelo Garcia to Roger Gracie to any of them, they all went through they put in their dues and they all struggled. And it's just a matter of continuing to show up, you know?
Yeah. That's honestly, consistency is the biggest thing. Like people ask me, like banjo advice for beginners all the time. And my number one thing I always say is just like, whatever gets you picking up the banjo every day, just do that. Like, don't make it a chore for yourself. Don't make it like, you know, if you want to play claw hammer style, then play claw hammer. You want to play with a guitar pick, play with a guitar pick. You want to play with your feet? Who cares? Play with your feet. Like, whatever the thing that you're doing is, like, the only way you're going to get better at a thing is just by doing that thing a lot. And you're not going to do it a lot if you don't enjoy it. So just do whatever it takes to make you enjoy it. And if you don't like if you don't like playing banjo and you learn that, you know, you pick it up for, you know, every now and again, and then you're just not interested in it, then that's fine. Like, you don't have to play the banjo, right? Like, it's just kind of like, find the things that you like doing. And if you really do seriously want to get better at something, you just have to figure out a way that it's not going to be a chore for you to pick it up and do it every day. Like, I think like Buchecha and Gordon and all these guys, I think all the top guys, if I was a betting man, I would say they probably all enjoy jiu-jitsu. It's probably not a huge chore for them to train every day, right? So it's like, yeah, first of all, it's just sort of picking. Like, sometimes people, I think they, like, I've spoken with some like people who they think they want to learn how to play the banjo, but then they're like, oh, I'm not consistent with it. I never pick it up. And it's like, well, maybe you just like listening to banjo music and you don't really want to play it, and that's fine too. Like, you got other things in your life that I'm sure you're interested in and that you're really good at. Like, I don't know. So it's just sort of like, yeah, anyways, broader point I'm trying to make, I guess, is just consistency is key, and not making something a chore for yourself. Like, make it fun for yourself, and just, that's how you're going to get better at it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very well said, man. You know, Colton, tell me about the formation and the vision of the Dead South. Because, I mean, you guys have a really unique style. It's like Bluegrass, but it's like the energy of a rock show. I really haven't seen other bands like you guys. And I really appreciate the originality of the band. How did the band come together? And how would you describe, I guess, the evolution of the band? How did it evolve into what it is today?
So we started back in, I think it was 2012. I was on the wrestling team in university. And there were these two brothers, my good friends, Galen and Connor, and they were roommates with Nate, who's the singer in the Dead South. So I met Nate through them. And I had just gotten a banjo. I was like 21 years old. I was into sort of this phase where I was collecting all these different instruments. I had like a sitar and like a bunch of weird kind of odd instruments. And banjo was one that I got for like a birthday present or something. And I was kind of learning it. And I went over to my teammate's place. A Nate was there and he was watching. I don't know if you know the band Trampled by Turtles. They're kind of in our same sort of genre.
Yeah, no, I don't know them.
They're sweet. Check them out.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, and he was watching a music video by Trampled by Turtles, and he was kind of in a phase where he was sort of learning some acoustic guitar, and we kind of got chatting. It was like, oh, it'd be fun to like play in a band. Like, this kind of music is kind of cool. I never grew up listening to Bluegrass or anything. I was like metal and punk and rock and that kind of stuff. So we started jamming and started playing like open mics and just local shows, and had a couple lineup changes in the very early days. And then, yeah, it just kind of went from there. Like, it was just sort of playing at the local bar. And we had this thing where every show we played, we'd all wear like a plaid shirt, or we'd all wear the same hat or something like that. And the one day we did like the white shirts with the black suspenders, and we were like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll do that again next time. And since then it's sort of evolved. Everyone's kind of got their own hat. Nate wears the jacket. I got like a different kind of tie, and it's just sort of like a one step at a time thing. There wasn't sort of like, hey, this is like, we're going to make a band that looks like this. It was more just like, we just started jamming, and just sort of like one step at a time, things kind of became what they became. And we kind of had like, we're all sort of on the same page in the early days, because this was 2012. So this is like Mumford and Sons were huge, and there were many like dudes four dudes in their early 20s with beards playing folk music. Like a lot of that was happening at that time. So we kind of knew we needed some sort of visual thing to set us apart, which is why we always did the same hat or whatever. And then, just kind of the black pants and the white shirts and suspenders sort of stuck. And and then we had the In Hell I'll Be in Good Company video blew up. We made that video. Someone posted it on Reddit. It made it to the front page of the Listen to This and music subreddits. And we got accused of paying people at Reddit to post this for us. I swear to God, we never did. We never paid anybody. And then that blew up on YouTube, and it went kind of crazy on YouTube. And then that's kind of how the career got started. So that was sort of the kicking point where we could all start to turn this into our career.
That's incredible. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I just realized the super obvious question that I should have added to the pummel game before. Give me your top 3 favorite bands. You said you grew up listening to a lot of metal and punk and stuff. That's my world right there. So what are like your top 3 favorite bands of all time?
Oh man, top 3 of all time, all genres, everything.
Yeah, I'll say all genres.
Oh man, okay.
It makes it even harder.
Queens of the Stone Age would probably be up there.
Yes,
I love Queens of the Stone Age. Anything Josh Homme does, I love.
Did you like Caius?
Yeah, I love Caius.
Caius is one of my favorites.
Caius is great. Yeah. Everything he does, man.
Yeah.
Lamb of God would probably be in there. Trivium would be in there too. Top 3 of all time, though, man.
I'll expand it to 5. Give me 5.
5. Okay, all right. Let's go. Okay, what did I say? I said Lamb of God. I said
Lamb of God, Queens of the Stone Age, and Trivium.
Queens of the Stone Age, Trivium. Let's do. I'm trying to think, like, over the whole course of my life, like, which bands have like had the biggest impact on me, even if I don't listen to them as much now. One would be probably the Beatles. We actually just got back from London. We just finished recording our next album at Abbey Road.
Oh, cool.
So that was really cool. We recorded in the same room that Dark Side of the Moon was recorded in, which I didn't even know that till like the last day we were there. I was just like, holy fuck,
no
that's
way.
Crazy. Yeah, so it was that was pretty wild. So Beatles, Lamb of God, Trivium, Queens of the Stone Age. One more. Let's go with Veil of Maya. This is a band that I've been really, really into for the last couple of years.
I actually don't know that one. I'm going to write that down too. You're giving me all kinds of stuff to check out today, man. We got between video games and other music. Yeah, Veil of Maya. Good list. Yeah, I like that. It's funny. We're sitting here on the pummel game. I'm sitting here with a professional musician. I didn't think to ask the top favorite music question. So just when you think the pummel's over, I pull you back in, right?
Hey, it's all good.
So let me ask you this. What do you think? You guys, you've obviously been all around the world at this point. What are some places that you guys have not done tours yet that you'd really like to visit?
Japan. Definitely Japan. I don't know why. I've never been to Japan. I really want to go.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just have this inkling that I think if it caught on there, it could go really well. I think with like the outfits and the kind of the dancing, the sort of like gimmick of the whole thing, I think, I've never been there, so I'm sort of like psychologizing Japanese culture. But for some reason, I feel like it could be a hit over there. Like you get little Funko Pops made of us and that kind of thing, and just the whole Western theme and that kind of thing. But we just don't really have a foot in the door. Like we've talked with our management about getting a tour out there, but like promoters, they really look at sort of like your where the streams are coming from, and like we don't have much in Asia. It's all like Europe and North America. Predominantly South America a little bit now, like we did our first Brazil run at the end of last year. But yeah, just nothing really going on there in Asia. I would love to get out there at some point, though. I don't know how to make it happen, but that's definitely the number one spot.
That would be, Japan's probably my top list of places I want to go now. It's interesting what you said too, is that, man, when something takes off in Japan, like it really becomes like its own subculture almost. Like there's,
totally.
I remember talking to a lot of fighters and stuff over the years. There've been like really like even like some kind of like mid-tier, mid-card guys, who fought briefly in Pride or whatever. They'll say, dude, I go over there, I find comic books about myself, like not featuring me, like about me, like it's me, it's my comic book. And it's like, dude, I fought like twice in Pride, and like one fight I won, the other I lost. I wasn't anything like spectacular in Pride, but they've got comic books and they've got action figures of me. And it's like, there's also like a big punk rock scene in Japan, and like they really like once they latch onto a culture from the outside, like, man, they really do kind of grow their own scene from within. It's really neat to see. So I totally could see that happening for you guys for sure.
I could too. Yeah. It's just how do we make it happen? That's the plotting and scheming I've got to do.
That's right. You'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How was the turnout in Brazil? Did you guys have a pretty good show in Sao Paulo? And where else did you go?
Dude, it was fantastic. It was it exceeded expectations. We were in Sao Paulo, Porto Alegre, Curitiba, and what the hell was the other one? Belo Horizonte. Those were the 4. So it was just those 4 shows. We had heard about, like, you talking about like rabid fans. Brazil is also known for rabid fan bases, and yeah, they were great. Like, it was our first time out there. The first show was like a little bit. It was kind of every now and again we get booked in these like soft cedar theater kind of vibes, and it's just not really our. It's not really our vibe. Like, everybody's sitting and kind of like clapping politely, and no one really knows if they can stand up and party. Like, we like it when there's like standing room and people are loud and talking in between songs. And like when you finish a song and it's just dead silent, you're like tuning your banjo. It's just like, oh my God, you're like under the microscope. It's so nerve wracking. But when it's like, when it's like kind of just, you hear all the babble and everyone's kind of whatever. It's, I don't know. So the first one was a little bit weird, but the other ones were crazy. They were just absolutely nuts. The fans went wild. They were like between, I don't know, maybe 700 to 1,000 cap rooms that we were doing, which for the first time there is, that's nothing great to sneeze at. So, we'll definitely be coming back. The fans were crazy. They were like nuts. Like, there was one, I can't remember what show, but like we could barely even get into the van to go back to the hotel after, because there was just this giant throng of people, and like they were like intense fans. So it was really cool. That's
awesome. Yeah, Brazil has that reputation, man. There's always kind of the joke of online of come to Brazil. Like, there's always the comments like, no matter where you are in the world, come to Brazil. And they do, man. They really turn out and show up and like make the bands want to come back. There was I was just watching a clip the other day. I think it was like System of a Down. Yeah, in fact, it was System of a Down. They were posting videos of their Sao Paulo show, dude. It looked like the world was ending. There was like flares and like fires going off, and like the mosh pit was like this big swirling kind of mosh pit. I mean, they really do go hard. So for bands, that's got to be super cool to be like on stage being like, whoa, dude, like this is, we're performing for this. This is awesome.
Yeah. You know? It's crazy. Like, coming from where we came from, just like some guys in Saskatchewan that played open mics and didn't expect anything to happen, going down to Brazil and having these people just go nuts it's pretty wild.
That's super cool. Well, yeah, man, like, guys, if you're out there listening, check out the Dead South on Spotify and Apple Music and anywhere else music is consumed. And if they come to your town, go see them. Their banjo player is one of us. So get out there and see them live. They've got a great show, great energy, great music. So, Colton, man, in closing, what are some of your big goals for 2026? What are some things you hope to accomplish this year?
Oh man, that's a good one. So like I said, I'm taking a little bit of time off touring, actually. Like, we just went and did this album. I'm just trying to get my back to normal and get my kind of health back to where it needs to be. So that would be probably number one goal, is just sort of take the time I need and properly heal up. Goal number 2, like I said, I've been going hard with the game programming stuff. Just releasing one coming out today. If I could release another game or 2, even just small games this year, just keep getting better at that. That would probably be the top 2 goals. Get the health back and release some more games.
That'd be great, dude. You should make a Dead South zombie game where like your main tool is like a band. You just smash zombies with banjos. That's
dope. A good idea.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. Well, folks, unfortunately, we're fresh out of time. Colton, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Thank you again for being a longtime listener to the show as well. It's been super cool getting to know you through our chats on Instagram over the years, and you're welcome back anytime. I'd love to have you back again in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. It was really cool to be on. I appreciate it.
Of course. For anyone out there that wants to keep up with Colton and the Dead South, it's real easy to do so. They're on Facebook. He's got a personal page, Colton Crawford, and of course the band is the Dead South, so make sure you follow them there. Same thing with Instagram, the Dead South, and then the Colton Crawford on Instagram. The YouTube channel is for the Dead South. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for when they add new videos. They got a new album they just recorded, Colton was saying. So make sure you're subscribing and staying notified so you can be aware of when that drops. The The website is thedeadsouth.com. That's where you guys can see tour dates, merchandise, and everything else. And then if you guys are on Twitch, Colton's got an awesome Twitch channel. It's Colton Crawford on Twitch. You can watch him play banjo, pick his brain about video games, programming, and everything else going on. So check him out at Colton Crawford on Twitch. And that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in. Please stay tuned for the next episode of the BJJ Fanatics podcast.